Hi, I'm Ash and welcome to this video where we're having a bit of a chat about Parawings. WingTips has today only covered wing foiling, but the Parawing is a wing and as such we're also going to do some Parawing content. The Parawing in this video is the Ozone Pocket Rocket 4.3 meters, which I bought 3 days ago. Just for information, the equipment I use to learn to Parawing is my 6'6" by 19 by 92 litre swift foiling light wind board, or mid-length as swift foiling call it, and I'm riding the Duotone Glide D 900 on the 94cm D Slim mast, and of course using the Pocket Rocket 4.3 meter, but I also had access to a 5 meter as well, which I used for the very first session, which was light wind. I'm in this video 3 sessions into my Parawing journey. The first session was in around 12 knots with a 5 meter pocket rocket. I used this lighter wind session just to learn to get onto the board and basic Parawing handling. I'd recommend anyone for their first session to just go out and taxi off foil and get a feel for the Parawing handling and just getting onto your board holding the Parawing before you try and do that in stronger winds. The second session was in 15 to 18 knots of wind, and in this session I got up for the first time in both directions, did some toe and hillside jibes and fell in quite a bit, and I also managed to totally gift wrap myself in a Parawing during one failed jibe and then had an almighty tangle which I had to sort out on the water. And all of this stuff is stuff that you need to learn in lighter winds where you're just about getting onto foil with your Parawing, not when it's absolutely nuking, so that you've got time to work out how to untangle your Parawing, how to work with it and how to deal with the problems that happen when you're using a Parawing. The third session is all of the stuff in this video footage that you're watching now. You'll notice being filmed on my helmet mounted camera. I will return to my usual camera mount. I just felt prudent in these early stages not to have a big camera pole on my back and risk getting that all tangled in the Parawing. And that proved to be a really good decision, because when I gift wrapped myself in the Parawing it was really difficult to untangle myself from it, and you want to do those kind of mistakes before you have anything sticking out that can get tangled in lines. In terms of WingTips, we will of course do Parawing reviews and technique videos as per usual, just like we do for wing foiling. I wanted to say that I waited to get into Parawinging for Ozone and Flysurfer to release their Parawing products, and the reason I waited was because the early adopters were all saying that Parawinging is difficult, and I took that to mean that Parawings needed some time to develop. I'm glad I waited. The first session we had wind, I was up and foiling and jibing both ways, so if you're on the fence and thinking about Parawinging and thinking that maybe it's difficult from what you've seen online, it isn't. It's just different to winging. But if you have your basic jibes sorted, you'll have no problem at all Parawinging on the latest Parawings. At this point in my journey, I'm yet to do some pack downs and relaunches of the wing. I did try a couple of those today, but we just didn't have enough swell that I had time to do anything and was off foil too quickly. You can see in the video that I am hooking in and hooking out of a normal harness line, and I would highly recommend you go out with one of these for your first stronger wind session where you intend to get onto foil. You can leave it off for your first light wind sessions, as it's just another thing to get tangled up. Whilst we're talking about tangles, they are much harder to deal with in strong winds than light winds, so make sure you get some practice untangling your lines in light wind, as trying to do that for the first time in strong winds would be quite unpleasant. Once you get a little proficiency and start linking your jibes, then the chances of getting tangles starts to diminish. I found the most likely time I would get a tangle was just walking all the kit to the water and paddling out. So try to make sure that all your lines are nice and tightly wrapped in the wing with nothing dangling or hanging out when you are traversing to your first wing launch. When you first come onto foil, the pull in the wing increases dramatically, so be prepared to hang on to your front hand right at the front of the bar to depower the wing whilst you get comfortable with that extra power. I found that almost all of the time both my hands were on the orange front part of the bar. Having your back hand behind the central bridle lines just destabilizes the wing. For your first pumps onto foil, you want your back hand right up against the middle bridle lines and you want your front hand tight alongside your rear hand. This is where the wing tends to balance best and not move around while you're pumping. This may be different for other brands, but it works best for the Pocket Rocket. You absolutely do not want your front hand at the front of the bar or your back hand behind the middle bridle lines. In good winds, you don't actually need to pump your legs very much, or indeed the wing, to get onto foil, so try to aim for using your wing in winds that are in the middle of its range. For example, the Pocket Rocket 4.3 meter has 20 knots as its sweet spot, so if you pick a day that is 18 gusting 22, you'll have a much easier time than if you try to do 22 gusting 25, where you'll be overpowered, or 15 gusting 18, where you'll be underpowered and really struggling to get going. Okay, that's it for this one. I'd like to thank the Water Sports Centre, who have both the 4.3 meter and 5 meter Pocket Rocket on demo. I did buy my own 4.3 meter, but it was after trying the demo 5 meter in light winds on my first session. Give them a call if you want to try out the Pocket Rocket for yourself.